Have you ever had one of those what if moments just pop into your head?
Oh, absolutely. They're like the bedrock of imagination, right?
Mm.
Especially for speculative fiction.
Totally. And today we're diving into something really neat, a new tool designed specifically to take those what if questions.
And turn them into actual story outlines, structured ones.
Exactly. It takes that initial spark, that what if, and uses, well, a pretty sophisticated AI process to build a framework for a story.
Yeah, the sources we looked at describe the architecture, the features of this what-if story generator.
So, our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack how this AI tool works, what's under the hood.
And figure out what makes its approach kind of unique in generating these imaginative story ideas.
Okay, let's get into it. The core, according to the sources, is this thing called a two-stage retrieval-augmented generation system. RAGs for short.
Right, RAG. Sounds a bit technical, but the idea is actually quite intuitive when you break it down.
So, like, step one.
Step one is retrieval. The system tries to find relevant information based on your what-if prompt. It uses a knowledge base, specifically ChromaDB, which is fairly lightweight.
Okay, so it's searching its own little library first. How does it know what's relevant?
Good question. It uses what's called an embedding function. Think of it like,
Yeah.
well, it helps the AI understand the meaning or the concept behind your words, not just the literal words.
Ah, so it can find related ideas, not just exact matches.
Precisely. It's looking for conceptual similarity. And here's a really smart part, the similarity-aware retrieval.
What does that do?
It gauges how good the match is from its own ChromaDB library. If the results aren't strong enough, if it's not super confident,
That doesn't just guess?
nope. It has a fallback. It actually uses Google grounding, essentially. It does a targeted search via Gemini, kind of a low-temperature focused
And
search.
it's clever, so it can pull in broader information if its internal knowledge isn't quite enough.
Exactly. And the whole point of this, whether it's using ChromaDB or the Google fallback, is to keep the generated story elements, fact-rich and internally consistent.
Right, so even if you're asking, what if pigs could fly? It tries to ground the consequences of that in some kind of logic.
Sort of, yeah. It provides a more informed starting point. It's not just pulling things out of the thin air.
Okay, so that's stage one, gathering the info. What's stage two?
Stage two is generation. This is where Gemini 1.5 Pro comes in. It takes all that information retrieved in stage one.
The stuff from ChromaDB or Google.
Right. And it weaves it together. It actually writes the narrative outline. This is where you see the generative AI really doing its thing.
And the sources mention how this uses several Gen AI capabilities, right? There was a table?
Yeah, it highlighted embeddings, which we talked about for understanding the prompt. The vector store, that's the ChromaDB grounding, which is the check against external info like Google search.
Yeah.
And the whole RAG process tying it together.
So it's a combination of techniques working together.
Definitely. It's not just one simple model. And there are other practical features built in too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there's something called quota smart generation. Basically, if there's a hiccup when the system tries to call the Gemini API, like a temporary error or rate limit,
It doesn't just crash.
no, it has a retry wrapper.
Huh.
It automatically tries again after a short pause. It's more resilient.
That's handy. Anything else?
It also caches generated stories. So if you or someone else already put in the same what-if prompt, it can just pull up the existing outline instead of regenerating it. Saves time and resources.
Smart. And the output itself, the outline, what does that look like?
It's delivered in Markdown format. Really clean and easy to read.
Markdown, okay. Simple text formatting.
Yeah. And it's structured with clear sections,
Hmm.
the core premise, proposed characters, key turning points for the plot, a potential resolution, and even a suggested takeaway or theme.
So it gives you a solid starting point, like a roadmap.
Exactly.
Or-
Not just random ideas, but organized thoughts.
The documentation also mentioned auto-evaluation. What's that about? Is it judging the story?
Huh. Not quite judging the quality in a subjective sense. It's more of a structural check.
Okay, how so?
It automatically checks if the generated outline includes all those required sections, premise, characters, turning points, resolution, takeaway. And it also checks if it's within a target word count, around 500 words.
Ah, so it ensures consistency. You always get a complete, reasonably concise outline.
Precisely. It's a basic quality control mechanism for structure and format.
Makes sense. Keeps the output reliable. Did the sources mention where this project might go next?
They did touch on potential next steps. One idea is developing a proper user interface, maybe using Streamlit, to make it easier for people to interact with.
Instead of just code, you'd have like a web page to type your prompt into.
Yeah, something like that. Much more user-friendly. And another interesting possibility mentioned was optional image generation.
Oh, wow. So it could create images related to the story outline.
Potentially, yeah. To go along with the premise or characters. Could be a great way to spark even more visual creativity.
That would be cool. So, wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems to be that this what if story generator isn't just randomly spitting out text.
No, it's quite methodical. It uses this structured RAG approach, combining retrieval from knowledge bases, grounding in external information, and powerful generative models like Gemini 1.5 Pro.
To turn a simple what if prompt into a detailed, organized, and reasonably consistent story outline.
Exactly. It's a fascinating blend of AI techniques aimed at assisting human creativity.
Which leads to a bigger thought, doesn't it, for everyone listening?
Yeah, how might tools like this change things? Not just how we generate story ideas, but maybe the very types of stories we even think of imagining.
What happens when AI becomes this kind of partner in our what if explorations? What new narrative possibilities could emerge?
It's definitely something to ponder. What if question would you feed into a system like this first?
A great question to leave us with. We'll be back with another deep dive soon.